Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome back. Sorry it's been a couple of days without a video, and yes, I'm in the kitchen today. I've been turfed out from upstairs, so I'm going to film down here just quickly. Bit of news today. A couple of people have tweeted me and commented me and asked me to talk about this story that's now kind of gathering legs about League One and League Two possibly going forward being regionalised. Now, if you'd said this to me, I don't know, about 4 weeks ago, I would have said, no, absolutely not. Don't see that happening. We'll finish the season as we go, and things will stay as they are. But the way things seem to be panning out now, this is starting to seem like more and more of a realistic sort of possibility. Not to say it's going to happen, but the Daily Mail went quite heavy on it last night, saying that a lot of League One and Two clubs would be in favour of it. My team, Ipswich, is obviously in League One, so affected by this, and our local paper has kind of tweeted a story about it, and we're all of a sudden starting to get the old, what about my away days, and I love travelling around, and how the mighty have fallen, particularly in Ipswich terms, to be playing in a regionalised league. But as usual, this is now coming down to finances, and my view all the way along was, got to finish the season, integrity, la-di-da-di-da. But it's now been so long, and looking like possibly being so long, that might well be changing. And we've seen the example from Scotland. We've seen lower non-league stuff already be written off. And it looks like for League One and Two, this kind of hibernation type thing might actually be the best bet. Obviously, people don't like change, but I think what we've got to realise now is the other side of it and the other possibilities, and obviously that means clubs really sailing close to the wind or potentially going out of business. So I think if you said to most fans who are worried about their away trips being taken away from them across the country, etc., that, I don't know, 5 clubs go out of business, or you can have your local leagues, then this is where we're at with this now. So obviously, with all of these things, we end up quoting Andy Holt from Accrington Stanley, because he is out there and he is on Twitter, very public with balance sheets and budgets and things of that nature. And he has turned around and said, black and white, that continuing the season behind closed doors will cost him £500,000. They'll lose £500,000 over those last 9 games, as in playing, so still spending money but bringing nothing in. Now, this is something that's very specific to League One, League Two, and the Championship to a certain extent, but particularly League One and League Two. There is just not very much TV money. Now, whether you think that's fair or not is a different matter. You can ask how many people would Accrington v Ipswich draw. I'm sure Sky have got the figures, because that was a Sky game on a Sunday, compared to, I don't know, even a middling Premier League, Watford versus Aston Villa. No offence to any of those teams calling them middling, but they're not Champions League teams. And the truth is, if finishing the season and the sporting integrity argument in League One and League Two behind closed doors means that teams go out of business, then really it's not the right thing to do here, and there might be a sort of greater good argument for doing that. Be interested to know what people think about that. I just Googled before I was doing this, just home attendances for League One, and you've got Sunderland on 30,000, my team Ipswich on 19,000, Pompey on 17,000 average attendances. So you've got three massive ones, and then you come down to Bolton, who obviously in most scenarios are going to be relegated because of their points deduction in their administration. Then all of the other 19 teams, including obviously Andy Holt's Accrington Stanley right at the bottom, all of them, there only seems to be 23 on this list. Of course, Bury aren't on there. So all the other 18 teams, under 10,000. So you can see, obviously Accrington's an extreme example with only 2,862 average attendance, but you can see how other teams are going to really, really be threatened by this. So in my head, I've gone from, play the season, this has to be done, to, okay, maybe it might have to be hibernation, and then it might have to be localised. If this is the difference between us losing, and we don't know how many, but if it's a handful of clubs, even if it's one or two, that's terrible, but if it's a handful of clubs, then maybe they need to get together, and the greater good might have to be kind of adhered to. This will not likely be the same story in the Championship and the Premier League, just purely because of that massive jump in money, which obviously we're now starting to realise. There's been people like me who've been talking about this for years and years, how this is ridiculous and it'll be the death of everything. And okay, it's great for the 3 teams that go up and the 3 teams that come down with the parachute money and the 20 teams in the Premier League, but for people trying to chase it and the kind of risk side of it, it really, really is unsustainable. So I can't see that happening in the Championship. Obviously, that's not going to be localised, and I still think, as we are now, that's not going to be a hibernation type situation. But it's starting to look like for League One and League Two, that might be what likely happens. In terms of the relegations and promotions, well, that would be a whole new set of things to talk about. I guess whether you can still do any kind of playoff matches when we come back for teams that are already in there, or take the teams that are up there. I don't know. I really don't know. But we're starting to get to the point now where the self-interest of some clubs cannot, and some fans, frankly, cannot come above teams not being able to complete the season. Where's the sporting integrity in that, when they thought they were going to be able to do it on the basis of money coming in for gate receipts, which in League One and League Two is a much, much bigger deal than in the Championship. And we know the Premier League could frankly give all of their tickets away and not make a penny from gate receipts and still be pulling in a ton of money just because of the TV deals. That's my kind of initial thoughts on the regionalisation idea. Obviously, people don't like change. I'm not against it, because as this pans out, if it means it's going to stop a load of teams going under, then it might just be the way forward, and no more Ipswich going to Exeter or Carlisle. Actually, they get stuck in the south. They might still be going to Exeter, but certainly not Carlisle, and no more Carlisle v Pompey and Rochdale v Yeovil or whatever, those type of massive journeys. Let me know what you think in the comments, pros and cons obviously, and let's try and think about the greater good when we're commenting on this. And yes, I know people don't like change, and people like their away days and their long trips, and on the surface it might not seem too fun, but if it is the difference between say 3 or 4, I don't know how many we're talking about, clubs going under, then it might be the right thing to do, if not the best thing to do for certain clubs. Let me know what you think. As always, follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Hit subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and I will see you for the next video. Stay safe. Over and out.